we got going. Okay, I think it's going to work. Thank you for your advice. We have had observing campaigns in the past, and we're trying to have another one on September 13th. So we're giving you a couple months notice here. And it's a really excellent event. This is Interamnia. Interamnia is the 5th largest asteroid. Its diameter is something like 340 kilometers. The larger asteroids, I believe in order, are Ceres, Vesta, Pallas, and Hygeia. And next comes Interamnia. The star it's going to occult. Well, let me just show you this map. If you look at the left side of the map, I don't know if you can see my mouse over there in western United States.
Yes, we can see your mouse.
Goes over the southern tip of California, goes right through the center of Arizona, northern New Mexico, and then up through some of the plain states here as morning twilight approaches. So an observer setting up in these fine observing areas like Arizona and New Mexico, southeastern Colorado, would really have time to set up more than one telescope, perhaps, if they are so inclined. And then, we're dealing with an event in which you're likely to have a hit. This is a 340 kilometer path width. 1 sigma uncertainty width is 37 kilometers. So just a 12% or something of the total asteroidal diameter. Combined magnitude of this asteroid and star is 9.0. So you can use a small telescope. The magnitude drop 2.7. If you have a hit, you won't miss it with a mag drop of 2.7. And the altitude, as seen from Phoenix, is 47 degrees. So basically through the entire western US, the viewing will be good at a good altitude, bright star, good magnitude drop, high certainty of an occultation. And look at that duration, 17 seconds, 17.3 seconds at center. And there won't be any moon. The moon will be 3% illuminated and below the horizon at the event time. Now, why are we doing this? Well, this asteroid is pretty well known. It's got a shape model and so on. What we really want to do is encourage observers to make mobile observations. As you've listened to some of the talks today, they have emphasized the idea that many paths, particularly these high-rank events such as near-Earth asteroids and particularly interesting asteroids that have been discussed, require you to travel to the path because it's very unlikely that these events will go over your home. And there's something very satisfying about traveling to the path and participating in a multi-observer event and being part of that team. And we were really hoping that some who have never tried this would make a mobile observation, making this their first attempt to do so. A small telescope will be enough. And the idea is to concentrate on the mobile aspects of the observation because everything else about the observation is going to be easy. And so this is a good one to try your first mobile occultation, to leave home and give it a try. An occultation with many positive chords is a lot of fun, and it promotes camaraderie among observers, and I think you will appreciate it. We want to establish priorities about assigning chords. We don't want everyone to run to the center line. And with a path width of 340 kilometers, there's plenty of space to have relatively high certainty of having a hit if you have a clear sky. So you don't need to worry about not being on the center line. We want to establish priorities about assignments of chords because we really want to respect people, the fixed observers. There are going to be fixed observers as well who are not going to be mobile, and we don't want to step on their chords. Second priority would be a chord of each observer who is making his first mobile observation. There's no reason not to put these people on the center line if they're inclined to travel sufficiently far to be on the center line. We put them near the center line. And third priority would include a number of observers who've had experience in mobile setups, but the first event idea with mobile event is not so crucial to them. And last priority would be someone like me, I don't know, Ted Blank, David Dunham, who are always setting up more than one telescope. And, you know, we really are not going to be upset if we have all misses. We'll go to the edges, you see. And that's the idea. And I think as a group, this would be a lot of fun. So what we want you to do is plan ahead, save the date, the night of September 12th and 13th. Plan to take a vacation from your employment for those 2 days, and probably the 14th too, for recovery of sleep if you think you will need to. Plan to carry a blanket. It might be chilly at night. You know, you might want to sleep in your vehicle and want a blanket instead of, you know, leaving the carbon monoxide running all night. Also, plan to have caffeine available. I always carry a bottle of water and some caffeine pills. I used to drink coffee from a thermos, but I'm always in a hurry at night, and coffee takes 5-10 minutes to drink, and you know those caffeine pills go down quickly. When you've decided you can participate, email me. There's my email address, and we'll put you on the list. But we won't make court assignments right away. What I want to know is, you know, what this occultation event means to you. Is this your first mobile observation, so that we'll prioritize your location, or are you one who has you know, less intense observation to have a success this time, less intense motivation to have a success this time? So final court assignments will depend on how many chords we are able to occupy, and just what we're going to do with individuals with regard to their observations. So now, if you want a good introduction to mobile observing, I would suggest you start with my presentation at last year's IOTA meeting, which is on the IOTA website. And there's the link to that presentation. And you want to look at slides 24 through 38, where I switch the topic to mobile observing. And there are notes with each slide. And PowerPoint has a view menu down at the bottom of the PowerPoint screen. If you click on notes, you'll see the notes discussing each slide. And a discussion of details of methods can be initiated on the IOTA message list, and just ask us to communicate with you about your plans, and we'd be happy to help you any way you want. Any discussion at this point?
Hi, Roger. It's Ted. This is very exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. And I hope a lot of people will try it as well. I wanted to point out that on Occult Watcher and OWC, there's, if you put your own cord on those, if you sign up for a cord, there's a field called commitment at the bottom for each cord that you sign up for. And when you sign up for a cord and you are an inexperienced person, you would select low or inexperienced, and then that cord appears with a different color. And so it would say to someone else who might see that, like I was always concerned when beginning mobile observations, I wanted to go near the center line, but I was afraid somebody might believe I'd actually get some results, because, you know, something would always go wrong. And so I asked Christo about this, and he finally put in this feature where you could say, look, I'm going to the center line, but don't count on me actually getting anything, because I'm a beginner. So if you're an experienced observer and you want to go to the center line, feel free. Don't count on me having it covered.
Yeah.
And
that makes a lot of sense, Ted, and particularly for an event that's not a campaign, that's a good idea. But honestly, we're going to be very kind to everyone who wants to participate. And we can distribute observers better if rather than say that they're lower inexperienced on Occult Watcher, if they would just tell us, and we'll make a good suggestion for a cord for them. That way they'll fit in with the team, you see.
Oh, that'll be fine too.
I think it'll work better. Now, a fixed observer, in contrast, would do well to declare a cord, and that way we'll know to avoid his cord. And most of this is common sense, you know.
Right.
Roger?
That person, they could have a fixed observatory, but have never done an occultation before. And in that case, I would recommend they select the low or inexperienced option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Roger?
Yeah.
quick question on Occult Watcher. Didn't we, I got two comments here. First comment on Occult Watcher, didn't we have something that would, like for safety purposes, would not give your exact location?
Yes.
Okay, and
You can select that now in Occult Watcher Cloud. You can actually give your exact
gotcha.
location.
Okay,
But
so
I usually put in approximate, and it's like a
I
1
hear you,
kilometer
Roger. I
uncertainty.
hear you. But could that be thrown sometimes off, one, our spacing, and two, when we do our reports?
We just, in this case, the easy thing about this particular occultation is that you don't need to worry about it. It's got a 340-kilometer path. If we have 30 observers, they're going to be 10 kilometers apart. We don't need to worry about elevation corrections. We don't need to worry about, some inaccuracies in our spacing. And it's the and we chose it specifically because of that.
Again, I just wanted to highlight that Occult Watcher does have a little safety feature that doesn't put your exact, and that was the gist of my comment. The second one is with setting the Occult Watcher, and whether it's you're a low or inexperienced, I really want to drop off the inexperienced, because I may put low on there because we've got bad weather rolling in. And if your opportunity is low, then it's low. It doesn't matter whether it's bad weather or inexperience. I think we need to take that stigma off of people that if they put low out there, that, oh, they're doing it because they're inexperienced. It may be weather, it may be scheduling. You just want to let people that, hey, I might not make it, but I've got you out there and I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it may be Hristo would be willing to look into the wording of things, to gentle.
Yeah, just gentle it a little bit, because again, I mean, we don't want to call everybody who puts low out there as inexperienced, because there's just some days where the schedule is bad or the weather looks horrible, and I'll think about it, but I can't really commit to it. So thank you. Thanks for your time.
Sure. Any other discussion?
Can I just remind you, in case you're not in your consciousness, the ability to generate fence lines in Occult, which if you're going to space people across the path line, that could be a useful thing to do. If you like, I can share screen. I just quickly did a Google Earth plot with 2 for 8 lines on either side at 10 kilometer spacing. And if you let me share my screen, this will give you a sense of how this might be useful.
Go ahead. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Obviously. So here's just plotted onto Google Earth. You can see it crossing the states there. So you can draw lines, whatever spacing you like, that's 10 kilometers, just 8 on either side. So that's 80 kilometers either side. So you can, if you want to get people spaced across the path, at least this gives you a tool where you can easily compare somebody's location over in Texas or Arizona with somebody up in Maryland's. You can just easily see what their location is relative to the path.
That really looks very useful for this type of event. Thank you for pointing that out. David, I just might have to communicate with you, in another venue to be able to use this competently. So I'll talk with you about it later.
I'll just quickly show you the form which you got to use. In Occult, when you got an event displayed, now let me just bring up. It is straightforward. I like to think it's straightforward. My problem is, of course, all right, here's the event displayed. And if you right click on this, you get a form which is path coordinates. Oh, sorry, let me just do that again because I'm getting confused as to which screen I'm on. Okay, here's the path prediction and occult the standard thing. Right click on that, and down here there's path coordinates. So you click on that and you get a form like that.
Mhm.
And it's this bit here, compute using local topography, and it's at 0.75 of an arc minute steps. And here include fence lines. And this plot here, I did by setting the separation in meters as 10,000 meters, so that's 10 kilometers.
Mhm.
And here you specify the number of chords on either side. So if you look at there's 2, 4, 6, 8 chords there, 8 chords there, and you click that, and then you wait for many seconds, not minutes, but seconds, takes a while. And it comes up with a list like this, which just shows the centerline data, and then draw listed, it's either mean sea level path or it'll come up with the local one. Draw that, and here you can, there's a couple of options there, but you click on that, that generates a Google Earth map. It automatically gets saved in the resource files Google Earth folder, I think it is. And you finish up with the KMZ file and with all the fence lines. And you have as many fence lines as you like. I'm not sure at what stage Google Earth will crash out with a huge file. And if you want to there, with the Google Earth thing, here's the file here. You can expand it. And here there's a box for fences. You open that up, and there gives you a list of all the fences. They're marked left and right. Imagine you're pointing, looking along where the path is going, there's left and right on that. And then I'll say, where's the chord 500 meters on the right? I can click that on and off, and you can see that chord disappearing and reappearing. So
Yeah.
that's there. It's easy to access, just a couple of clicks, and it takes probably, I think for that one, it took me about 10 or 15 seconds to generate the path. It's that type of speed.
So occult will utilize a Google Earth map, and can you zoom in on that map to close?
Yeah. Where do you want me to zoom in on?
Well, I don't know. How about Phoenix?
Phoenix. My
You don't know where it is?
well, there's Arizona, so Phoenix.
Right in there.
It's got 2 million people.
Yes, I have the advantage of not living in the States.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
The,
Phoenix, where's?
The challenge here that we have to figure out is how this interacts with Occult Watcher. Some people will be declaring their especially fixed stations on Occult Watcher, so we have to decide. Ideally, we would have this capability in Occult Watcher to generate these fences, so we wouldn't have to jump back and forth, and observers could just use Occult Watcher.
Yeah.
If we go with just these lines like this from Occult, which are generated in a Google Earth map, then we'll have to distribute these lines or tell observers which line is associated with them. They'll have to download it and use Google Earth on their own to figure out where to go. So
Yeah.
we're going to have to think a little bit about what's the best option and how to coordinate between Occult Watcher stations and lines generated by Occult like this, because they just go to a Google Earth file, which is not available online unless we post it.
Yeah.
So that's something we can decide later on, but
Yeah, I just thought this would be.
The other alternatives get into Occult Watcher and place stations on these lines to replicate the same lines that we're seeing here in Occult Watcher and Occult.
Well,
in this Google.
can't this print a KMZ file that you can import into Google Earth, and then you just give people the KMZ file?
Yep.
And then
That's
you just
what we want to do, and and when we assign a chord, we'll say just count, 7.5 lines from the center line, You see what I mean?
And somebody, but I'm just saying what that means is somebody will have to kind of correlate. Somebody will have to look at the cult watcher and see what people declared there and make sure that that doesn't interfere with any of the lines that we've assigned in the Google Earth file. So you just,
Right.
you know, there's a little bit of work there. But that's
Would you,
it's
would you
doable.
like to take responsibility for that, Steve?
Nope. Just saying that's what's going to have to happen, though.
I love to delegate responsibility.
Yes, I agree.
Just for info, I've had a look at the file size that was generated for this one. It was 2 megabytes. So it's
There is an option as well to, which is perfectly fine, but it is also possible to export individual lines as long as we don't have too many fence lines. So it'll depend on how many observers we have. If we
Yeah,
don't have too many observers, we can export the lines and share just the individual lines.
sure.
But
Yeah.
but certainly, I think if you're taking an active role of deciding where mobile people should go, I would have thought this would be a very useful tool. For
Yeah, I
them.
think so.
it's useful. It's just a question. It's definitely useful. It's just a question of how to coordinate it with a cult watcher. So
Yep.
Okie doke. Well, I would like to draw this meeting to a close at this time. I want to thank you all for your participation. We still have 39 people here. And I think it's been really interesting. And I took notes. So I thank you all for coming, and we'll see you be there at 4 p.m. tomorrow. 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which was 2000 hours Universal Time.